Hello once again and welcome back to the show. My name's Relevant. This is Do All the Things. Even though I'm doing another of the same thing today, I'm going to build another pedal. But today, it's going to be the Black Cat OD-1. Now, I can't explain why I'm drawn to this pedal, but I'm drawn to this pedal because it says it's an overdrive, and I have a thing for overdrives because I got the vintage tube amps that need just a little bit of a nudge, you know what I mean? So overdrives, they have a lot to offer me. Admittedly, I'm also a bit of a cat person. It's a cat, it's a black cat, and it's simple. Look at this schematic. It's almost too simple. But then the OD-250 is also very simple, and I like it quite a bit. This one uses a dual op amp, which is something that I find interesting. I want to see what kind of functionality that's going to offer, and I do have some dual op amps to play with, though not quite as many as the single op amp collection I've amassed. But you can't go wrong. It's a cat, it's a black cat, it's simple, and it uses a dual op amp. Optionally, if I really like this pedal, I would consider building a version that uses two single op amps. Wonder what that's going to be like. Even though one of the selling points of this pedal, specifically the OP-275 op amp that it uses, apparently that has some magic voodoo that makes this pedal what it is. Now, if there's one thing about the pedal community that frustrates the crap out of me, is the lack of consistency or standardization between the definition of an overdrive and a distortion. So I had a hard time researching this pedal to find out if it's something I would actually like. Let me just spell this out for you real quick. And I wish all the pedal builders would hear this and just agree, you know, like, yeah, you know what, I'm on board, but I don't think they are. An overdrive doesn't make distortion. Sure, you can force it by cranking the gain, but overdrive, you plug it into an amp that can already make distortion, like the JCM 800, and you push it to make more distortion. It overdrives the amp. You do not use it as a standalone distortion pedal. And in fact, a good overdrive doesn't sound good as a standalone distortion pedal. Most often, it's gonna have this honky mid-tone to really push those mids to get those tubes to go rawr. You know, it's gonna have just a whiff of clipping. Not quite enough that you can enjoy playing it on its own. Again, you can crank the snot out of the gain and force it to do it, but it doesn't do it well. A distortion pedal makes distortion. You plug it into the clean channel, heck, you plug it into the effects return. You plug it into a raw power amp, boom. You have distortion, you can play some guitar. Whenever I see a review for an overdrive pedal, and they're like, okay, here's my clean tone, bring, it's like, no. You're doing it wrong, bud. You're doing it wrong. So that's the problem that I had with this pedal. I'm looking at reviews online. It's like, oh yeah, it's a black cat. Beep-a-doo. Here's my clean tone. It's like, oh man, you're not showing me what it's gonna sound like if it's actually overdriving an amp. Like there's a couple guys out there that I seem to think they might have been using it right, but they were plugging into their old Fenders and they were just kind of licking out with their Telecasters. Like, oh boy, I'm a metalhead. I plug it into a Marshall, please. There's this one guy with an orange, and it's like, okay, cool. The guy's got a Gibson, he's got an orange. Finally, someone's gonna show me. It's on the clean channel. It's on the clean channel. Oh, okay. And of course, no offense to the guy, but the tone I was hearing sounded like crap to me. It's not what I want. I guess it's not a bad tone, just not what I want. But again, not using it as an overdrive. But based on the sounds that I heard in that video, it kind of sounded crappy like an overdrive might sound plugged into your clean channel. And my camera just went off, so hopefully that didn't completely ruin this anecdote. Either way, once again, sound unheard, I'm diving right into it. And here is the layout that I came up with. Oh, look at that. I managed to do it with just one jumper. Now, some aspects of this layout's gonna get a bit tight because I have a ground bus that's going all the way weaving up in here, but it's following all the rules. You can't have a path crossing diagonally between two pads that are right next to each other, because if you look at these boards, like, you are gonna be very hard pressed to get a lead to go between two pads without it, you know, accidentally touching one of these guys. So that's challenging. So, you know, we were able to do hard angles. I think it's gonna work. I can't see anything wrong with this layout that might cause, you know, certain feedback oscillation issues. It seems to be pretty good. And yeah, even though I could have connected this ground bus over here, I ran it down there to kind of keep it in the same perspective of how the circuit is laid out, where the ground for number 4 is gonna collect somewhere around there. Basically, you know, when you're you're used to amp design, you kind of lay out your circuits a specific way, and certain aspects of the circuit are grounded to certain points because you got to think about the circuits before, after that ground point, because the ground, you know, signal's going to be going through there, and the agitation of that signal, because that's what's happening in your power buses, you know, power's getting agitated through there. It could exacerbate the flow of electrons going to that particular ground point. Oh boy, it's a whole thesis in and of itself. And I kind of apply some of that to this. I don't just ground willy-nilly, you know, I kind of think, okay, well, if this circuit's going to be going this way and a signal has to get from there to there, then how's the op amp going to feel if I ground it here, you know? Either way is the best I could come up with. One change that I've made to the circuit, pretty much the only change I've made to the circuit, is right here. That is a socket for this first capacitor. And if there's one thing I've learned in my travels building these pedals, that first capacitor can make or break your tone. And if it doesn't have the sound that you want, and you kind of are scratching your head thinking, I wish it was a little more like this, often you can get that effect by just changing that one capacitor. So just to be experimental, that's going to be a socket. Otherwise, the rest of this is pretty much stock. So we're going to start off with a half a 5x7 perf board, and it's going to go into a Hammond 1590 BBK, which should make it more rugged. The finish on these black ones is, you can tell it's going to be more stretch resistant than the painted ones. And here's all the parts we got ready. Of course, once again, we're using the TT Electronics P09X 5N pots, specifically 5N, because they have the mounting solution like this, so we can plug it right onto the board and use that as to what mounts it into the box. And yeah, if you've been following the channel, you've seen all these. I am developing the same format. The only difference is our kitty is going to be a little bit more googly-eyed, because in order to make room for this chunk in here, I've spread the pots out. Usually they're one pad in, and this guy is right there. These guys are going to be right on the edge. So let's tear into it. Of course, I forgot to change my tip over. You know, I've been building a lot of pedals. I pretty much only use this tip to do these pedal builds, and I think I'm ready for a new one already. One of the other great things about this circuit is there's a lot of repetitive components. The bill of materials is really simple. It's the same two pots. You know, there's only a handful of different values in the whole thing. You got an oddball value of 430 connecting the main power supply to the op amp. It's a little bit different. I haven't seen that done before. This guy uses an inverted style configuration. That's a little bit new to me. Like the circuits that I've worked on previously, like the 250 is a non-inverting op amp. It's always the challenge of where to start those first few components. Now, one controversy I'm having is the size of capacitor they spec this out for is 3 holes or 5 mil. The capacitors I ended up with, these green dealies, are 4 hole. So these might not always fit. They'll fit in most spots. Like, I don't know that I could do a 4 hole here. I could do a 4 hole here, but not a 4 hole here. And here's the other debate, because, you know, I have these little dealies here. And I know these are good sounding capacitors, even though they're non-standard. I do believe these are Murata. I forget which ones I ordered, but they're 0.1s, ceramic MLCCs with a COG, is it? Dielectric. They're not the bad ceramics. They're good ceramics. And I'm thinking of going ceramic on this guy, because then, you know, these are 3 holes. So bam, that'll drop right in where it's supposed to. Otherwise, we'd have to get some components to share holes, which you can do in some cases, but not all cases. I wish I could just get a poll in the comments right now, but I'm not live. Be like, oh, what should I use? Oh, it's getting tight with these green ones. So right here, where it mates with this 22K, they would have to share a hole. It's tight, but I guess it could work. And to mount the IC socket, I have to finger drill out the holes. Ow! Wow, this guy's sharp. I freaking finger drilled into my finger. I finger drilled my finger. Oh, but you gotta be more careful. Yeah, I can get these green guys to fit, so I'm gonna stick to the plan. I'm gonna use all these green resistors for the main coupling. Even though, no, I have a 104 that'll fit in that format there. Gotta be a little tight. It's gotta be a little tight. All right, now that we have direction, we can solder down a couple of these capacitors, because nothing else is happening to them. Oh, I wasn't supposed to crack that lead. What's it connect to? A 1 meg that goes zoot all the way around. I'm just using Murata MLCCs for all the Ps. They're actually high voltage ones. which shouldn't matter. They're basically the same ones I bought for doing amps, because you have 220s and 100s and 470Ps and guitar amps. And you need them to be rated for like 500 plus volts. They're typically 630 volt rated. So these are 630 volt rated, but I've used them in pedal builds with good results. You can use higher voltage rated capacitors. You just don't because they get big. A 0.1? Oh, that's gotta be a unit. Gonna take up half the board. Oh, okay, I did not mount that guy nice. It's gonna work, it's just very derpy. Oh, I haven't soldered this side down yet, so I think I can correct it. Make it look just a little bit less derpy. I think I'm ready to assemble the ground bus. I think I have all the core connections really in there. I think I have like one resistor left. All right, I think I'm ready for wire. Standard affair. I'm trying to remember, what color code do I use for input again? I think white is my input. And input is right here on the socket. And where's output? Output is right on the potentiometer, which actually is easier to get at from the bottom. If we just want to jam this wire through there like that, oh yeah, bud. It's all just copacetic done. And there we have it. Look at that pupper. Oh, upside down. Let me show it to you like this. All those circuits, pathways. You know, I'm getting better and better at this. Let's look at this side. Oh yeah, lots of little blue buddies. One jumper, yeah. Big cap, little cap, all sorts of big caps. Biggest caps ever on here. But I think now might be ready for fabrication. All right, so there's one problem that I have moving forward here. And that is I don't have all the parts that I need to fully complete this time. You see, my chosen power jack, it's kind of on back order till, well, next month according to this. It's currently June. And to make matters worse, I didn't even order it from Mauser. I ordered this guy from DigiKey, and it doesn't really tell you. But I've already put in a back order, so I'm guessing eventually it's gonna show up. We'll see. In the meantime, I'm gonna have to run this battery power only. That makes fitting a little bit more tricky. We're gonna have to compare it against a known good assembly. Gotta start off measuring this guy. 12.9 millimeters. So we're starting this party about right here. And as per the usual, I'm gonna put this up there. If my board stops right about there, and that means my pots are gonna sit center right about here. Will I go ahead and make a hole for the jack? I don't know. I guess I might as well do that when the jacks come in. And we will copy it across the front, or the top I should say. And we'll throw these jacks down, see where those knobs are gonna sit. Right here, right here. Wonder how accurate that is. Totally not. Totally not. Close though. So close. Or actually, very close. It's close. It's not worth correcting. So we're ready for a consultation now. And to be quite frank, if you've been following the comedy, as you should be, you've watched me do the fabrication process several times by now. So... all right, the frick yeah, bud. Let's throw this pork beads together. So we got the curved balls, sizing the wires without having the jack in place. I guess that's gonna come around like that. Might as well. And then normally it would just go right there, where it would bind to the other positive, but I need a relief loop if I ever have to rework it. So gonna get a little loop like that. And then let's just get a little snip snip. Same with the black wire, coming around to theoretically connect to a jack that does not currently exist. Creativity. At least this guy's gonna be simple, but this guy we're gonna have to bind it to the battery terminal directly. The battery terminal. Nice. Oh, you know, I got these little widgets in stock. I should grab one of those. Saves me having to solder things and I just have to unsolder it later. Yeah, these random weirdo wire connectors that I found at a surplus store one day. Put the wire through there, put it in the cone. And the plastic bit is just gonna like keep it in place. All right, hopefully we can tuck that under the board and it's not gonna get in the way. It's not passing an audio signal, so it's not gonna be completely offensive. We can screw this down now. Ooh, bud. You cut it too close this time. So this black wire that would normally go up and under, well, it's gonna connect directly to the jack. Don't want to solder it on too good because I know it's going to be getting a rework. Same with this battery connector. It would normally go to the power jack, but it's going to go directly on the input jack for now. And I'm not going to put too much solder. I just want it to be good. We use a star washer on a standard jack. This will get a good ground bond to the chassis. I just power through this now. It's not like it's difficult. That wire's not moving, so we can solder it on well. Once again, we're gonna be doing true bypass on this. Bypass link is in place. Blue is output. White, which should be tucked under here. White is input. I wanna get those centers first. Oof, I made that line super long. Okay, I think it's ready. Once again, we're not going to put the knobs on until we've tested because that's bad luck. But we just have to put in the crystals. 0.1 capacitor. Easily accessible is a ceramic MLCC. I know we'll slot right in there. And then here is the OP-275, just what the doctor ordered. Let us test it. Wouldn't be a proper overdrive test unless I hauled over the old 800, am I right? Yeah, I think you know it. Let's get ourselves a battery put in there. Good old-fashioned carbon zinc. Panasonic dollar store special. Anti-boil, keep it contained. Output, oh that's a tight jack, bud. Okay, so all y'all out there in guitar pedal world, when you go to review an overdrive pedal, so this is my clean tone. And now let's turn on the pedal. It sounds like a fuzz, but then they did refer to this thing as the Freddie Fuzz, which is the reason why I was worried it wasn't gonna give me a sound that I wanted. Oh, last thing I need is, okay. What's it like in the clean channel? Okay, no, we're going back. Anything's better than that. Let's go back to the dirty. Dirt it up. Dirt me up. Okay, are we down this in wrong? Is it just too much? Let's turn the preamp down, see if we can tame it a bit. No harmonics, bud. And this guitar's dripping with harmonics, trust me. wish I did that thing I was thinking of doing where instead of installing the capacitors that I installed, making them all sockets. All of them. All sockets. So, remember what I said about that first capacitor position. Let's see if we can improve on this tone, because as interesting a pedal as this is, it's not going to be useful to me like this. I'll probably play it as much as I play my other two fuzz pedals. Alright, dipping into the old cap sanctuary here. Well, we know it works, so we might as well put the knobs on. We're not going to be needing to take this thing back apart anytime soon. Ooh, I'm disappointed by this thing so far. I got a nicest box with the nicest knobs. Maybe this will end up in scrap for 20 years like that first fuzz pedal build of mine. Alright, so I'll dip into the old capacitor sanctuary here. I gotta pull out that 104. Oh geez, it won't let me. Cat's like, no, you can't have it. 104 being a 0.1, we're gonna put in a 103 being a 0.01. Let's see what that does to the tone. If we get some of those low frequencies out of the signal, maybe it's salvageable. It's almost like it's too much gain. Say, what if we pull a DOD-250 Malmsteen edition? Let's put the Malmsteen into the Black Cat. Oh, frick, the socket's tight. Let's put a 1N in there, or 0.001. Surely that can't be a bad thing, can it? Oh, as Albini plays death metal. Oh, that's just dent tones. Just no bass. I don't know. Okay, let's try clean again. I'm gonna pull the 1 out. I'm gonna put in a 22N 022, more recognizable, more tame than an 0.1. I wish I knew scales that made sense. It's quiet at least. Well, that last riff kind of personifies the way I feel about this. I wanted an overdrive and I got a fuzz. Why? Because you frickers out there in pedal world can't decide what the difference is between these pedals. You know, I get we mistake distortions for overdrives. And you know, overdrive, it sounds cool. It sounds a lot more cool than distortion. Or let's just call it a freaking grime generator. I don't know. Oh no, I want to call it an overdrive, but it's a distortion. But in this case, to my ears, it's neither an overdrive nor a distortion. It's a fuzz pedal. It's brrrr. I feel like I'm overacting now. It's just, I got another fuzz pedal. Oh boy. What can we do to turn this into an overdrive? Do I feel like doing that? I don't know. I'm kind of getting over working on pedals. I got like another one to build and I got more ideas for projects than I know what to do with here. Needless to say, there's no end to the content that I can crank out. If only I could edit as fast as I could film. Then, oh boy, I'd probably have more subscribers at this point. Are you even watching right now? Oh, I'm sure some of you are, but some of you aren't. Some of you logged out a long time ago. And now I'm just babbling because once again, I'm not sure how to end these things. Well, I guess I have to call it a success. Like, based on what I'm seeing in the circuit, based on what I've heard of this pedal, it seems to be performing pretty consistent with what you would get out of a Black Cat Freddie Fuzz. But she sure as hell don't sound like an overdrive, bud. I think you know it. So if you enjoyed this, stay tuned for more. I got some more tweaks I need to do on amps. I'm thinking of building a guitar. And then I don't know. It's warm out. I should go play outside. Instead of sitting in here trying to entertain you guys. Girls. Thems. Theys. Oh boy. I want to call it a dirty rat, but the rat sounds cleaner than this.